Hello, welcome to Futbol, the Europa podcast, and today alongside me is Sean. Welcome, Sean.
Hi, good to be here.
Thank you for coming here. And today we are amidst international break, so we should start by talking about international teams. And French national team is the world champion right now, and one of its players is hasn't featured in the national team for quite a while, who is Karim Benzema.
Mm-hmm.
And we recently read any news where he added the French national team in his Twitter bio,
Mm-hmm.
and the French national team coach, who is Didier Deschamps,
Mm-hmm.
said that he still won't include him in the national team because of reasons related to sports and personality and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you see about that? Like, what's your take on that, John?
I feel that it's not a bit. Yeah, football as a whole now. Any other players, you're not just on. Yes, you speak for yourself on the field, but as well as your personality off the field plays a big part. And I think all the situations currently surrounding Benzema as a coach, I think that's what the Shams just doesn't want in his dressing room. So I think that serves as his basis, and I don't like. Yeah, that's the. I think as a coach, you have every right to pick and choose which players you want.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't know if we can just comment on it because it's still.
Fresh.
It's not fresh. It's like still under speculation, and it's still awaiting the final judgment from the court and all that stuff. So it's a legal matter. It's under investigation and stuff. So we cannot really say if anyone's guilty or if anyone's not guilty and stuff like that. So it's a sensitive issue, which, yeah, I think the benefit of doubt should have been given to Benzema for some games at least. But yeah, it's the decision of the coach and whatever he likes. So. I think we should move on from this and talk about the upcoming games, which are for the club football. The next week is the week of Champions League, and
Sorry, just a quick thing I just saw. Joachim Low just says, I actually wanted to take Serge Aurier to the World Cup in 2014 when he was 18, but then he suffered an injury, and then the comment says, "Oh, that's Joachim Low's version of Arsene Wenger's I almost signed him."
yeah,
I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, congratulations though to Claudio Ranieri for being the new Sampdoria coach.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's
It's his like
18th team, was it?
18th or
Yeah.
20th team.
Yeah,
It's
solid effort there. I mean,
yeah. He's managed.
um,
The stretch of teams he's managed is quite wide. From managing Leicester to Juventus to Inter Milan to.
I think it goes to show he is a diverse coach. Like people who hire him actually do trust him. Yeah, he does.
But most of the time, his jobs have been of interim coach.
Yeah, and I
Like
think
interim relief,
it goes to
for
show
the
that
time being.
he's diverse in that sense. Like he's able to be relied on.
Something like Gus Hiddink, who did 2 of his
Hmm.
spells at Chelsea.
Adaptable. He's
Yeah,
an
adaptable.
adaptable coach.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But Champions League stuff. What's
Yeah, so Madrid face Galatasaray,
Madrid face Yep.
and they haven't won in the Champions League so far.
So
One loss
if they lose to Galatasaray, they won't go through.
No, it's not really that clear right now, but the chances will be very thin.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a possibility that they might even get knocked out from
It
the
looks
group
like
stage.
That's.
Because so far
will
they
be-
have faced Club Brugge, where they drew at home
Mm-hmm.
2-2, and the 3-0 loss to PSG. So
Yeah, that one was
it's
bad.
thick, thin ice. And then after
Yeah,
Galatasaray, they face Barcelona in the La Liga, just 3 days after.
3 days after, damn.
Almost 3 days after, I guess. 4 days after.
And after that, on the Thursday, actually for us, Thursday at 4 a.m. there's another Champions League tie that looks really interesting. The Ajax Chelsea match, that should be interesting to watch. I think that those two seem to be the biggest one from. Oh no, one more. Inter Milan and Borussia Dortmund. So those 3 seem to be the biggest tie out of all of them. As in the closest.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
and I think it'll be an interesting one. I think Real Madrid playing away. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Galatasaray shouldn't really be that difficult. Like, no disrespect to Galatasaray, it's a great club, a great tradition, enormous fan base. But the issue is, like, when you are a club like Real Madrid, you cannot afford to go 3 games without a win in Champions League. That's just not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have had the transfer market, you've had like Jovic, Hazard, and Mendy, and all those
Mm-hmm.
uh, Galacticos which you have signed, and brought back Zidane and stuff like that. So after that much of investment, you at least expect to win games in the group stage of the Champions
Yep.
League. That's the minimum expectation. And also we have to take into consideration that they will be heading to Barcelona
Mm-hmm.
for after 3 days. So they need to carry that confidence with them. That okay, now we have
Yep.
got our momentum back. We have got a win against Mallorca and Galatasaray, and then we can replicate such performances against Barca. But the thing is that, as I said before, like in transitions, when we are attacking or when we are defending, it's always the transitions when we switch to 4-2-4 and leave too many gaps to be exploited. And whichever team we play against can easily uh,
Yep.
I don't know how to put it into words, but they can easily exploit the spaces and get even one through ball,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
It's basically an easy counter. Yeah. So I mean, pose the question back. Pose this question to you. You say Galacticos, and I mean, yeah, they did spend big money on Hazard. Maybe I think he's adapting. I'm not sure. I don't really follow too much since he's left. Um, uh, Djokovic and who's Jovic? Sorry,
Djokovic is a tennis player.
I know. I was just
Yeah.
like, that's why
Yeah.
when you said it, I was just like Djokovic. Where he?
Jovic.
Jovic. Yeah. Sorry. That's not just Djokovic. He's not in Madrid.
You know, there's a stat that Jovic has been the worst striker in Real Madrid's history. Because for the starting, since his debut, it's been like 60 days that he hasn't scored. But on the contrary, he has played like only a very limited amount of
Yeah, that's
time.
those sort of 60 days sort of things don't count when like you only played one match in those 60 days. So
Yeah,
like,
it's not even match like full match. He comes on like at 85th minute or so. So
yeah, just
you can't do much about that.
but
So
from that the question I mean to ask actually is like with all those signings, Courtois got bought last season,
yeah,
right? What do you think of his performance up until now? Because he's proven himself in Chelsea,
even
right,
with Belgium.
even in as a Belgium keeper, but he just doesn't seem to reflect that same sort of performance that
At Real Madrid,
at Real Madrid, where he was put up as world class. And I mean, David De Gea is world class. I think him, Manuel Neuer, and
Ter Stegen,
Ter Stegen. Yeah, thank you.
Oblak.
Oblak. Yep, those four really are world class up there. Yes, De Gea doesn't have that. Has
Even
a great front-
Alisson. He's
Even
quite good.
Ellison, yes, exactly. Those five have proven it time and time again. Yeah, they still have their dips, ups and downs, but this is a really
They hold a
big down.
consistency. Yep.
Yeah, they have a consistency at least, but this is a really big down in terms
Yep.
of what Courtois is
Yeah.
when he was so-called considered world class. So,
So-
what do you think of that?
In the Madrid fan base, there are two schools of opinions. One which says that it's the fault of the defense and the team which isn't structured and leaves too much space to explore, and in 1v1 situations there isn't what Courtois can do.
Mm-hmm.
So and the other thing that Courtois can improve and at least make some saves in the near post, and like we expect him to do more. It's not just okay, the team will defend, and if the ball comes to Courtois and that's it.
Yep.
You cannot expect him to save that. So that's not the case. He needs to step up his game.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, it's a bit of both. Of course, like I just mentioned, in transitions we switch to 4-4, which leaves us with a lot of space to exploit. But again, Courtois is also not at his best level. So it's like a shared responsibility of the team and of Courtois. So I think both of them are not on the best levels yet. and even Hazard, you were talking about earlier, he is also not well grooved into the team yet, and he will take his time, maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months, but maybe by the end of the season or by the next season, he will be the player we know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think the thing for me is that they're tearing. Hazard is less than 2 months ago. Hazard was tearing up the Premier League for Chelsea. He was basically carrying Chelsea.
The thing
And then
is that in Real Madrid, in Chelsea, he was given the free role. Like he could go into the attack, he could drift into the cam role and do whatever he wanted to do. But in Real Madrid, he isn't really given that kind of freedom. He is always tracking back. He is always defending. He is always on the overlapping role uh, with the left back, who is either Mendy or Marcelo. So yeah, he's now playing under a different kind of role, and maybe Zidane will also take some time to understand his best of uh, what do you call where his best
position. Yeah.
position is and how he can excel. Even with Mourinho, Hazard wasn't given that much of defensive duty.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite strange to see that he doesn't really have that many legs to run. But yeah, let's see how it works out.
Cool. Yeah. That's. I just wanna hear what you thought of it, because I mean,
Yeah,
I think Real Madrid and Man United supporters, I think we can all
can relate to each other.
We can
Yeah,
relate to each other, especially right
Sure.
now where we're both in a bit of a ditch.
yeah, sure.
Bigger ditch for
But the thing is that
bigger ditch for some clubs than the others.
exactly. The thing with Real Madrid is that we still have a bit of core left from the past years, like Modric, Ramos,
Mhm.
Varane, Benzema, Bale. So we have these players who have a bit of that flair in them, and they can carry us through a season or two now. But eventually, we need to rely on a structure and on a organized gameplay, and hopefully Zidane can deliver that. But the thing is, like, the 4-4 transition happens when when the defenders, the centre backs and full backs, don't really press,
Mhm.
but the attackers and forwards do, and that's not organized. So that
Mhm.
stretches your field, and you just leave space. Like even one open midfielder or
Mhm.
one open defender can uh, can get the ball through, and that's it. That's the
Fair enough. Yeah.
yeah.
So what? So moving on to the next matchup, Ajax and Chelsea. Speaking
Yeah.
of Hazard,
Hazard, yeah. So I don't know if Pulisic is the next Hazard for Chelsea, but
oh no, I feel that Pulisic is a bit he is a bit too big of a shoes to fill right now. But I also feel that he's not the right fit for what Chelsea wants. He was doing really well for Dortmund, and I personally think he could have stayed in Dortmund for one more season, and to show that he does have consistency. I mean, look at what happened with Mkhitaryan when he came to Man United and now in Arsenal, right? Had 2 bad seasons, had an amazing third season or something, bit of a mediocre mid-range 4th season or something like that, or an amazing season, I can't remember. But then came to Man United, did not prove for about he proved himself in the Europa League, but they couldn't do it much on top of that. Swapped with Sanchez, scored 1 or 2 amazing goals as he did when he first came to Man United, and then now it's drifted off the radar again.
yeah, it's always a problem with some players. Like they cannot maintain that level of consistency. But yeah, about Chelsea and Ajax, I think Ajax still managed to carry on from the last season, even though many of the players left, like Frankie De Jong and Mathis De Ligt. But they are just holding on when they can. I don't know. I think Ajax are slightly in a better position than Chelsea right now, because they still have the same coach, Erik ten Hag, and they have still the same kind of mentality, and many of the players are there also. And Chelsea, I think, are in a transition right now, which will take a bit of time. Like you can see that okay, their performances are decent. They aren't playing that bad, but still they need time to get the results, and Lampard seriously needs a good transfer window eventually. And I think their transfer ban ends this season, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it will be an interesting match. Is it a home game or away game for Chelsea? I think it's
It's an away game for Chelsea. It's home to It's home
so
to
Ajax are
Ajax.
the
Yeah.
hosts. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think even a draw would be a decent result for Chelsea.
the same. There's a lot of patience given to Frank Lampard, and he's doing the same thing as what Solskjaer is trying to do with like playing a lot of youth. Yeah, Solskjaer had 6 months to work with a team that he had no control over, and delivered as much as he could. I mean, that PSG Man United game still resonates amazingly with me. I was watching it live and I found it brilliant. It was
Yeah.
crazy, but at the same time, like yeah,
The
Man
issue
United
is
are currently having a terrible run of games, a terrible result since that Chelsea opening match. But on top of that, everyone's either injured or like on a run of bad form. Rashford can't seem to find a goal at this moment. Pogba's injured. David De Gea, and I only have to say I think David De Gea and Harry Maguire and his defensive line, Harry Maguire, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka. Luke Shaw's injured, I think, if I remember, and Ashley Young's playing on the left. So like only the four of them. Yeah, they can only do so much, but if we don't have the ball and put it into the net on the other side, eventually the opponent's going to score. And I don't see like Harry Maguire even being the best defender and most expensive defender in the world right now. As in, yeah, the most expensive defender in the world right now. He can only do so much. He's only one person. Say you put three people around him, he's still going to get outmatched. And De Gea can stop all the shots at his goal, but one or two is still going to get in, and that's basically been what's happening with us. We're losing by one or two goals, yeah, to a couple of teams that you expect to win, but on top of that, I don't know.
yeah.
When your team lacks this is clear showing when your team lacks depth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
People aren't able to step up. We lost Pogba of injury. Look at this run of games right now.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think I think supporters should. I think it's amazing. Frank Lampard as an ex-Chelsea player, Solskjaer as a former United player. I mean, both of them coming in to match the clubs they used to play for. I think not just saying for Man United. I think Chelsea as well. The supporters should afford him the leeway and the chance to mold his vision and mold his team to the way he wants it to be.
Yeah. But I think like you are comparing the two jobs, which I agree that they are doing the same thing or trying to do the same thing. But the problem of United is not really in the coach.
Except
The
Tammy Abraham is scoring and Marcus Rashford isn't. I know.
Yeah. But I read an interesting stat that Marcus Rashford won the most goals of the month for United, and that was because he scored the penalty. And that's it. It's a sad stat anyway. But the thing is that I think the problem lies within the Man United's board, and they need to get their act together, and they need to support the manager within the market and get the players they want to.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah?
it's really clearly a board problem and the
Yeah.
owner problem of the Glazer
Yeah.
family. Where
Exactly.
Van Gaal said it, Marino said it. Solskjaer is not saying it yet, but
you can sense it.
you can tell
yeah.
that he's looking after the player. He sincerely believes, and I think we all do, that he's looking after the players and he's trying to do something about it. But the fact that the board and Ed Woodward aren't allowing him to do anything. They didn't allow Marino to do anything. Van Gaal got kicked out even though he won the FA Cup and did all those things as well. I sincerely
I was just
believe-
reading that Fred wasn't Mourinho signing.
Yeah,
He was
Fred
just
wasn't-
signed before because he was afraid that no other player will be signed.
Honestly, I hadn't heard of Fred before we signed him because
Yeah.
he's in Shankar or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. And 52 million for him for like what justified the price tag? I mean,
exactly.
yeah. And I mean, looking at the things that Fred can bring to the table and the potential of it, yes. I think Fred needs to step up and he should be able to play at it. But right now as it is, he's not a Man United player.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs when businessmen come into the game and don't really understand the aspects of the game. So
We need a director of football badly, but we
yeah,
need to find a proper one.
and I'm pretty
I mean,
sure,
if
like,
Real Madrid can lend us Perez for a couple of days, I think
yeah,
he could fix a couple of problems.
exactly.
I mean, Perez is a businessman still.
He's a businessman, but he still
always has
knows,
been,
like, yeah, he
but
has
he
always
put
been.
the right people in the right places. He knew
Exactly.
what he was doing,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, even though he had the
Even even
has
after
the
he
final
messed up.
decision making, right?
Yeah.
But he still followed advice. Whereas the Glazers right now, they aren't listening to anything.
Yeah, because again, Real Madrid is a member-owned club, so eventually you need to cater to the needs of the members. But if you are a private organization, eventually owned by a certain billionaire family or billionaire individuals, you really don't have any sense of responsibility, or you aren't really answerable to anyone.
But somehow Roman Abramovich is able to
Yeah,
deliver
but
compared
because
to
of
what.
his own vision of the game and of
Correct.
the
At
club,
least,
yeah.
at least, at least Roman has a vision.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants to do. He wants to win. He wants to, get more
Yeah.
money, obviously. But like, the Glazers just don't care. They just want more money without anything else. All the sponsorships.
and
I
stuff
mean,
like that, yeah.
attract the sponsor. I mean, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's
Right.
happening with a lot of clubs. Even Newcastle, who sacked Rafa Benitez, like, that didn't make any sense. The guy who got you to promotion, he made you a
You let
decent
go of the guy
mid-table
that
team.
knows what he's doing. It's just that it's a lot of
Yeah.
currently right now. That's why I am jealous of Liverpool. I'm jealous of Man City in the sense that you look at Liverpool, right? I can't remember his name, the New Yorker guy. When he bought and saved
Yeah.
Liverpool, right? Yeah, he's still a businessman. He's still funding the money, but Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp right now have spent 4 years finding what they need,
Exactly.
filling in the gaps. I saw a post where the only player since Jurgen Klopp took over is James Milner
Yeah.
as captain. Wait,
Yeah.
no, Henderson's captain and Milner
Henderson's
is vice
captain
captain.
and- Yeah, he's
I
one
think-
of the senior players.
Yeah, senior player. Anyway, I mean, we thought Nathaniel Klein was next big left back. Wait, right back, right back, left back. I can't remember. Fullback. All right.
Anyway.
Next
yeah.
big fullback in Liverpool didn't make it. Now Luke Shaw is tearing it up on the left. I mean, if he wasn't injured again, he is tearing it
Yeah.
up on the left despite the results. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
All right. Compared to Nathaniel Klein, God knows where is he now.
No idea.
Yeah. And then I saw the couple okay, Scuttler's retired. Let's not rip into him too much. But so they bought Van Dijk. They bought what's the other guy? Matip's the other centre back.
Yep.
They got Matip, and then they've
Firmino, Salah.
got Alexander Arnold is like if I'm being honest, he's like the defender turn up of what Rashford turned up for us as a striker.
Mhm.
It's amazing what he's doing right now. And Firmino, Salah, I can't remember. Mane was a fringe player,
Yeah.
and not only that, I think he's proven his worth. Even with Coutinho, he stuck to it, and I think kudos to Mane for like pushing through and now becoming like one of the better, no, not the better, one of the first team players that I think Liverpool can rely on. I think even when you have Salah injured or Salah is down, or like Firmino needs service, you still have Mane there.
Mane also got a lot of votes in
Yeah,
the
Mane got a lot of goals
FIFA the
as well.
best, and
Yeah,
deservedly so.
yeah, and who's their midfield apart from Henderson and Milner now? I can't remember. I think there's one more name. Sorry, off the top of my head, I can't remember right now. I'm not looking at it. Yeah.
That's all right.
But yeah,
So
so it goes to show you need time to build, but the problem is Van Gaal was given time and money but no approval. Mourinho was given time, sort of. He shouldn't have been fired, honestly. He should have waited till the season is over. He should have been given.
I think, like, Gary Neville has pointed that out quite many times. Like, when you handed him the new contract, that's the point when you decide, okay, we are with you and we will do whatever you demand of the team.
Correct, exactly.
And if you don't think that you are in line with with the coach. You just part ways there and then. You just
Yeah, he wanted Maguire, wasn't given Maguire. Maguire got bought now.
exactly.
Solskjaer
Doesn't
is
make
just
any
like,
sense.
yeah, Solskjaer is just like, yeah, cool. I got a strong defender. I got a good defender.
Yeah.
Right? Not that I want or don't want him.
Yeah.
Great. I now have a proper full. I now have a proper centre back.
Yeah.
What the hell am I gonna do about it? Like, yeah, I have a proper. You have a proper goalkeeper, one of the most senior players now. You have a proper lineup, but you don't have proper defenders. The only good one out of the lot is Pogba and McTominay, and McTominay came from Moreno,
Yeah.
right? So it just doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Yeah. You need to just stick with the coach, and because everyone has a different idea of football.
Yeah.
So
But it's
the
not
best
really-
example
yeah.
is of Man City. Like they had three of the coaches, two of the coaches before Pep Guardiola,
Who was the one before Guardiola?
Pellegrini,
Yeah, that's the.
and Mancini before that.
I'm mixing up the two, as in the sequence of the two. But yeah, I remember both of them, and
both of them won the Premier League.
both of them were supported.
Both of them were supported, and the players which Pep inherited.
He still kept it on.
Yeah, David Silva, company.
Aguero.
Aguero.
Mm,
Aguero was still like.
Aguero was really fringe at the start,
Yeah, but he
but
was.
he fought back.
He was the investment of the past.
Correct. He was. There's Aguero. There's company.
So there was a clear idea of football. The coaches, which were hired before Pep Guardiola, were of the same ideology of a possession-based football, and the players which were signed were suitable for that scheme. So that continues. That's the football heritage which we talk about.
But Guardiola has changed his tactics a bit more. Less so.
Yeah, like he's inverted the fullbacks and stuff like that. But
Correct. But as in there is
the
a smooth
principle of the games.
Yes,
yeah,
correct. There's a smooth transition. Pellegrini did an amazing job. If I'm being honest,
exactly.
He
even managed to get Man City into semis, which is yet to be replicated by Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is I find is just that. Yeah. Okay. Let's be fair. Let's be a bit. Okay. I'm trying not to be biased. Just to be fair, we can say that. Yes, Man City bought their first title in the 60 or 50 years, right?
Of course, it is bought.
We can say that. As in, I think it's fair to say that they quote unquote bought their first title because they spent so much money to build such a team.
Exactly.
But right now, in the sense that it goes to show it's beyond the money now, and they have the board and
the money
and
was invested wisely.
correct.
That's
correct. Not only that, I think the board and everything, they know what they want to do.
Yep.
Right. So the rest of the so like yes, they bought their first title, but the rest of them is built on top of that effort and the team that they built. Whereas like teams like I don't know PSG, everything they're just throwing money.
Laurent Blanc and then
it goes to show you can buy your first title, but after that, what you do matters still in the long run. And it goes to show, yes, Man City have done it properly. And I think Man United right now, even though it goes to show we're spending the money, but nothing's happening. So we need a board that knows what they're doing.
Exactly. And I'm sure that many players in Manchester United, the former players of Man United will be willing to step into the administration and help the club.
I think they know what they're doing. I don't know.
I read a tweet by Peter Schmeichel, if I'm not wrong, who said that please let us in. We know what to do and we can do it. Please let us help you and stuff like that. It was very like a sad state to read that tweet, but it is what it is.
We all of us want results except for the board. So I don't know.
I don't know. Like it's quite simple. If the team is successful, it will obviously have more sponsorships. It will obviously earn more. It's like it's direct maths. It's not even that complicated.
Yeah, exactly. So the only few clubs that are screwing it up right now. Look at Newcastle. Look at Man United. Look at Arsenal sort of.
Yeah.
They've screwed up in the sense that they screwed Wenger over, but Emery right now they're trying, but I think they've mildly screwed over Emery in terms of a couple of targets. But apart from that, I don't know.
Inter Milan have been a team which I really think done good.
I think overall I'm not just upset with Man United. I'm upset with like the way things are being handled right now as a football fan. I mean, it sucks to be watching United like that as a supporter as well. But
But it's a long season. Let's see what happens. Hopefully they will cover up.
We've got no control over what it is, but I don't know. You can tell there are certain problems that can be changed but not being fixed right now. And I think that's the growing frustration that a lot of people have.
Sometimes it's also like psychological.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, I don't know. I feel like
I think
those things are.
These times the international break is really helpful.
Yeah.
Because you need to get that break from playing week in and week out
But I also think that the psychological and mentality side of it would have been circumvented over this long period of time compared to, say, a long-term period problem like a board. So, like, not saying that the psyche of a player is unimportant or is really quick when it comes to recovering, but compared to the timeline of a board bringing in the problem to the psyche of a player. Yeah. Of course, some players never recover, and that's just a real shame when the player is really good. But hey, that's how it is. That's what football is. But for the last draw that we mentioned, the Inter and Dortmund, just real quick, who do you think?
Both are like one of my favorite teams. So
okay,
I think it's a draw.
Draw?
Let's be fair.
Okay.
Yeah. Because both are good, and whenever two good teams play, I always think it will be a draw because a perfect game of football will end in a 0-0 draw. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Even though it's exciting, even though it's 0-0, if the match was exciting, I can live with it.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying it will be 0-0. It can be 1-1 or 2-2, but I think it's a draw.
It's exciting. As long as you're on the edge of your seat, it's not boring and not falling asleep like left to right passes. Hey, still a good match.
It will be a good match for sure because Inter Milan have not only been good defensively but also in the build-up. The game against Barcelona, I saw the sequence from the game was like built up from the goalkeeper and right up till the final third. It should have been a good finish and it would have been a great goal if the chance was finished off. But it is what it is.
Real shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, with all of that, we said we won't go and talk about Man United, but we ended up still doing it.
We ended up still
Real
doing
Madrid
it,
and the board and everything. But hey, it is what it is. That's
I think
football.
it's less talked about. We should really, we talk about it quite often in almost each and every podcast we did. But I don't really hate this discussion anywhere else that much.
Yeah, no, it's just the sort of thing where it's just the sort of thing where if you keep talking about it, more people know about it. But at the same time, it goes to show how blatant and obvious the problem is.
Exactly.
I think, and it's I mean, on top of other.
The general thought is that the owners or the investors or whoever is making the final decision needs to have a long-term plan of say a decade. These are the objectives we need to achieve in the decade, rather than looking at season by season. I think that will be more beneficial.
You can't go and make just extravagant decisions or make extraordinary claims like Bayern Munich saying they won't send any German nationals to their team. Like you can't do that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So the coaches and the players have a responsibility, win games, but the board and the directors and whoever behind that, they have to help those. At the end of the day, the 11 players on the pitch and the manager and the bench, those are the ones that bring home the results. And the board they are the primary people. The board has to back that up.
Yeah. I understand that you need to buy players for immediate effect, but you need to buy those players who are experienced, who bring in a lot to the table for the youngsters. And by the time they mature, they are all...
You don't need to buy players for image. I mean, look at Mo Salah. He's on the front of GQ yesterday with Alessandro Ambrosia. And he was no one knew him before Liverpool.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking United bought Zlatan. He was an experienced player. He bought a lot of winning mentality and stuff like that. But that's only for a season or two.
I think we need Zlatan back, if I'm being honest.
Exactly. And you can give a lot of experience to likes of McTominay and Rashford or Lingard or anyone. So
it's
like
honestly, I think
right mix of youngsters and experienced players.
Man United could benefit from Zlatan just coming back because, I mean,
he's willing to come back, but I don't know if the board will.
I could appreciate someone who's willing to shoot every time they have the ball.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. But anyway.
Even if he can play like 20 games a season,
Yeah.
it's a good deal.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
Well,
on that note,
I think we should.
thank you for having me
end it.
again. Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Sean. And probably we will talk about a lot of stuff by next week or next to next week. Thank you so much, Sean, and thank you so much for listening. Adios.